Lead the pledge. Oh, good morning. Sure. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to the May 21st Urban Renewal Commission meeting. Director Lean, will you call the roll, please?
Yes, I will. Chairman Baltzell has an excused absence, so he will not be here today. Carstensen?
Here.
Coles?
Here.
Crosby?
Here.
Malzahn?
Here.
Rehrman?
Here.
And Babich?
Here.
Thank you.
Diane, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation under God, indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Diane. Are there any ceremonies, appointments, or announcements? Hearing none. Are there any conflict disclosures? Hearing none. Director Lean, will you introduce the consent calendar, please?
Yes, good morning, Vice Chairman Babich and Commissioners. In your packet this morning, item A is in the consent calendar, is the strategic planning session minutes as of April 8th, 2015. Item B in the consent calendar is the minutes from the commission meeting on April 16th. Item C is the workshop minutes from May 13th. Item D is payables for the month, and those payables total $1,401,758.03. Payables include pay request number 10 from R.L. Wadsworth on the Greensferry Overpass project for $1,268,373.49, and payment to JUB Engineers for $56,789.63, and that's also on the overpass project. Along with, in the payables, includes a pay request number 7 to Cameron Riley for $46,758.09 for the Spokane Street Revitalization Project. Item E is the bank activity report, which shows total funds in all accounts of $2,603,134.03 and accrued interest for the month of $806.87. Item F is the financial reports as of April 30, 2015. Those are printed from our in-house QuickBooks accounting system, and they will also be posted to the internet, to our website. Item G is to ratify the approval of change order number 6 on the Greensferry Overpass project. That was approved, and that approved to ratify this will approve the increase of $20,028.52 for the purpose of compensating Avista and Kootenai Electric to relocate the utility pole and corresponding utilities located within the BNSF Railroad right-of-way. That work, from a construction standpoint, needed to be done, and we could not put off approval and review of the change order. That had to be done fairly soon, so Chairman Baltzell signed that. We did have a discussion on this at the last workshop meeting. Item H is approval of the Washington Trust bank documents for the first draw on the Greensferry Overpass funding. This approval will authorize the chairman to sign the necessary documents, and that first draw amount is $1,325,163.12. Because this is a tax-exempt loan through the bank, the first draw is required to have bond counsel opinion and specific documents that come from that attorney firm. Those are included in the packet. They were provided for your review. There's a lot of boilerplate, just basic language on the bank documents. The next item I is approval, and this relates to the first draw. This is, item I is the documentation, signature card documents for setting up a new checking account at Washington Trust Bank. Because when we submit a requisition for an advance on the loan, they will deposit that amount into this new checking account, and then they will wire transfer the funds from that checking account to our checking account at INB, our operating account, and then we will write checks on our account as we normally do to pay the outstanding payables. That's it for the consent calendar. Your approval on the consent calendar will authorize the transfer of $806.87 accrued interest to the general fund, and also transfer to the INB checking account $1,401,758.03 for general payables. And I would answer any questions. I would try to answer any questions.
Thank you, Tom. Are there any questions for Tom regarding the consent calendar? Larry?
I just got a question on the payables. Is that the final payment to Cameron Riley?
No,
I didn't think so.
because they still have to do the chip seal this summer. There will be some remaining amount.
It's
final amount.
striping.
No.
And after they do the chip seal, they will do the paint, the striping in the street.
Okay.
Thank you. Are there any other questions?
Yes, Madam Chairman, I did have a question on change order number 6 for Greenferry. On 326, we reviewed this as a work change directive in the amount of $17,416, which is exactly what Avista and Kootenai Electric charged. However, the change order includes a 15% markup of $2,612.42, bringing the total change order to $20,028.52. Why? Since the contractor didn't do this work.
The administrative markup comes on all of the change orders. We have been realizing that markup on all of the change orders.
And who does the markup go to?
That goes to, I believe it goes to Wadsworth for their management, administrative management on the process.
Even though all this work was done by the two utility companies.
The work was done, yes, but all the paperwork and management, the construction oversight by Wadsworth to make sure that the work was performed according to the engineering plans and drawings, that still has to be done by Wadsworth.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions? I had one, Tom, for the Washington Trust. When we do the draw and we put the money in Washington Trust, then we do a wire to INB. Is there a wire transfer fee for each one of those transfers?
Typically there is. We have not talked about that. I was going to try to talk them out of that. Right now I can't say that there will or will not be, but that is a normal charge for wire transfer.
Right.
There usually is a charge.
So for each one of the draws, we'll have a wire transfer in addition to that because we're going to transfer over to INB. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And that would just be posted in our expenses as a bank charge.
I think it would, Madam Chairman, I think it would be prudent to ask for that because of the magnitude of this transaction and the relationship for a $13 million loan. They should be able to, particularly since it's not going out of state, they should be able to waive those fees. But if we don't ask, they won't.
That's correct. And we were going to have that discussion.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hearing no more questions about the consent calendar, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar.
Make a motion to approve the consent calendar.
Second.
We have a first and a second. Any discussion?
A roll call vote on that.
Roll call vote.
Vice Chairman Babich,
Aye.
Carstensen,
Aye.
Coles,
Aye.
Crosby,
Aye.
Malzahn,
Aye.
and Rehrman.
Aye. Pass. Thank you. Next item is committee updates, finance and policy. Commissioner Crosby?
We have completed the oversight review of the first quarter of 2015, all the financials, and that's in the files now with a memorandum stating that there were no issues found. We've also revised the policies, which I think were provided. I know Commissioner Malzahn got a hard copy of them, and I think we're, with the exception of policy number 1 and policy number 27, which is still being discussed by the Personnel Committee, we're ready to finalize those at the time that the Commission deems it to be appropriate.
Thank you, Commissioner. District review, I don't have an update. Communications, property, and personnel, Commissioner Carstensen.
As Commissioner Crosby noted, it's 27 is still in discussion. I said it'd be done by May workshop. I'm moving that to June workshop.
Okay, thank you. Item number 6, citizen comments. This section of the agenda is reserved for citizens wishing to address the Commission regarding an agency-related issue. Comments related to future public hearings should be held for that public hearing. Persons wishing to speak will have 5 minutes. Do we have anyone that wishes to speak? Hearing none, we'll move on to unfinished business. Director Lean, Greensferry Overpass.
Yes, thank you, Vice Chairman Babich. On the Greensferry Overpass, the March expenses, we had a total of $1,680,896.12. That includes the design build team for about $1.2 million plus. $347,000 was included some legal fees and advances for work that was done on parcel 15 and 16. The right-of-way cost to cure work, and that's the location specific is Knutson and Parker on their frontage, the improvements there. 56,000, like I mentioned earlier, was the JUB invoicing. So the total on that was $1,680,000. The schedule, and if you had questions on schedule, if you would like a up close and personal comment on that, Mr. Worrell, Mike Worrell, is here today. He's just passing through on his way back to Salt Lake. He is the our owner's rep with JUB Engineering. But the contractor, R.L. Wadsworth, continues to work on the right-of-way in both the areas north and south of the freeway. They're working, they're making a lot of progress on the north side on bringing in the fill for the ramp, and they're installing the vertical concrete panels for the MSE wall. They are also, they have been waiting for a resolution on some of the right-of-way so that they can continue with the utility relocation. And that, as of yesterday, we've had some resolution on that question, and they will be able to continue more full force here in the next few days. They will start up more of the right-of-way relocation efforts. So that is a plus to the project. I would ask, either answer any questions on that or ask for you to direct any questions to Mr. Worrell, Mike Worrell, if that's okay with him.
Are there any questions for Tom or for Mr. Worrell? Hearing none. Thank you for that update, Tom. Did you want to touch at all on the schedule or not?
The schedule is, like I said, they're working on the ramp on the north side, the walls. They will start, now that we've have some resolution on the right-of-way on the property, they will be able to continue on their schedule and advance that schedule rapidly now on the utility relocation.
Item B, agency policies discussion and approval of revisions.
I think that, as Commissioner Carstensen mentioned, we'll be prepared to present a full package of adjusted policies at the June Commission meeting.
Perfect. Diane, will you make sure that's on the June agenda?
Relative to that, there was a request yesterday in one of my conversations will we have a list this morning in the packet of all of the policies that are subject to approval for the various revisions or rewrites, all the work we've been doing? And can we get that done? We will have that available at the June workshop, the specific list of the policies, more definition on what we have done on each of those policies. Some of them have just been a rewrite from the old format to a new format that's consistent so that all of the policies are in the same consistent format. Others do have some substantive changes that will require commission review and specific approval on that. So there's a mix, quite a mix on what we're trying to accomplish here. And I appreciate putting this off for another month. We've been fairly busy, and this will allow us a little more time to have a better approach to this at the next workshop.
Would it be possible or realistic to have a hard copy of the proposed changes for each commissioner, similar to what Commissioner Malzahn asked for last month, so that we can expedite the review? People will have an opportunity to look at that.
That makes sense. Yes, we can do that. Diane can put that together. I'm sure she's taking notes.
Okay.
She's got it.
Commissioner Fountain?
Well, I just as it goes to policy, I appreciate all the work that everybody's done on that. I know it's been a lot of work. I know when I asked Tom for a copy of the policies, after 3 years on the commission, I was kind of shocked that they weren't just all in one place in the same format. So I know it's been a lot of work and at a very busy time, but I appreciate everybody's hard work on that. Any new business? Having none on the agenda.
I had two general questions. One is, in the strategic plan discussion is reflected in the minutes. We had touched on the fact that the legislature has appointed an interim committee to study the process of urban renewal in Idaho. And I wondered if you had received any notice of a meeting schedule by that committee, or are they going to hold some meetings in North Idaho?
I have not received any of that information at this point. I think yesterday or day before, I did receive a email packet from the RAI off of the group down in Boise, the Association for Urban Renewal, a statewide association, for our monthly board meeting. That will be this morning, actually 9 o'clock our time. I usually dial into those meetings, teleconference, when I can. And I do have an agenda that was sent with that email. I have not had a chance to read it yet, but I could provide that agenda back. And if you would be welcome to come in, sit in the office this morning when we dial into that call. But I would presume that on this meeting, on the board meeting this morning, that will be on the agenda as a topic of discussion.
Yeah, I think that the two questions that I would have as a commissioner, and I think it would benefit all of us, is if we had knowledge of which legislators are on that committee, and if there are some non-legislators appointed to the committee, and then when they will have meetings that we could potentially go and provide some input. Thank
Okay.
you.
Noted.
Anything else, Commissioner? For now? All right. It's my understanding we need an executive session this morning. I would entertain a motion to go into executive session.
Madam Chairperson, I move to enter executive session for the following reasons pursuant to Idaho Code Section 67-2345, subsection 1C, to conduct deliberations concerning labor negotiations or to acquire an interest in real property which is not owned by a public agency, and 1F, to consider and advise its legal representatives in pending litigation or where there is general public awareness of probable litigation, and further, that no further action be taken or the making of any final decision shall be made in executive session, and that the executive session shall last no longer than 20 minutes?
We'll split the
40
difference.
minutes?
40,
How about 30?
30? Fine.
30 minutes.
That's my motion.
Second.
We have a first and a second, or is there any other discussion? Call for the roll call vote.
Commissioner Malzahn,
Aye.
Carstensen,
Aye.
Crosby,
Aye.
Babich,
Aye.
Coles,
Aye.
and Rehrman.
Aye. Motion passed. We're going into executive session not to exceed 30 minutes, so. No. Back out of executive session. Thank you.
Madam Chairman, I would move that we amend the agenda to consider a motion to authorize the deposit of funds with the court to accommodate the legal action involved in the acquisition of the Richards property.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. roll
Madam
call.
Chairman, I would just point out that the good faith reason for amending the agenda is because this is a matter that came up late yesterday, so there wasn't time to post an amended agenda, and there's also a final decision needed on what was discussed in executive session.
Thank you, Pete.
Thank you.
Roll call vote, please.
Madam Vice Chairman, I would also suggest that the dollar amount of $307,000 be a matter of record for the amount that we would draw on the loan to, that's the amount that we need to deposit with the court.
This is just a motion to amend the agenda.
I'm sorry. Yes.
Okay, so we have a motion to amend the agenda with the good faith reasons stated with a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none. Roll call vote, please.
Babich,
Aye.
Carstensen.
Aye.
Coles,
Aye.
Crosby,
Aye.
Malzahn,
Aye.
and Rurman.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you.
Madam Chairman, with that amendment, I would move that we authorize the deposit of $307,000 with the court pursuant to the decision of the court yesterday and its finding with regard to the rights with the rights of the commission to acquire the Richards property.
Thank you.
Did I leave anything out, Pete?
No, that's good enough.
We have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have 3 seconds.
Take the one you like.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. Roll call vote, Pete?
Yes.
Carstensen,
Aye.
Coles,
Aye.
Crosby,
Aye.
Malzahn,
Aye.
Rurman,
Aye.
and Babich.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Staff report and updates. Tom?
Just as an update on the Spokane Street project.
I'm sorry, could I interrupt? Just one question. My motion was for $307,000. Do we need $307,982?
No.
It said 307 on the
Okay,
judges.
thank you.
Thank you. Director Lean?
Yes. Meeting with the Spokane Street project team, that included Cameron Riley, the contractor, Welch Comer, engineer, and city staff. They reviewed the punch list and are in the process of resolving a number of items on that punch list. POE is the company, local company, that will be doing the chip seal work. They're going to coordinate the timing of doing that chip seal on Spokane Street when they do other sections of city streets in the community. So that will be done. We don't have a firm date on that. It's going to depend on their schedule, but it will be around July, August time frame. After the chip seal, they will then paint the street, the markings, the lane striping, etc. Matt Gillis talked about lowering the planter on the south end of the strip to allow better visibility for cars turning onto Spokane Street from First Avenue. There was a citizen comment that came in noting that the large concrete box of dirt at the end of Spokane Street median looks bad and needs to be finished. And that is a true statement. They had to lower that because of the visibility turning onto Spokane Street. You couldn't see approaching cars southbound. After discussion, Welch Comer advised that the agency may want to add some low-growth plantings within that planter box. Matt is going to contact Clearwater Landscaping and decide what best type of plants would be appropriate in that area. Plantings must be very low, even if some of the soil is removed, and the plantings are recessed into the box. And then maintenance of whatever is installed must be equivalent or less than the adjacent landscaping. Matt has asked the city staff to give us an idea on their perspective of what type of plantings would would be appropriate and what the cost would be. The city pocket park, we had discussed over the last year about doing that as part of this project. We decided that we would not do that as an add option. City has done that. It's almost done now. It really looks nice. If you have not seen it, I would suggest going down and looking at that. And then there was another complaint from a citizen about a narrow style of Spokane Street. That was discussed. Matt made the comment that pre-construction design was based partly on input from community members. I mention this because we're televised and there are other concerns from the public about the narrowness of Spokane Street and how it slows down traffic. That was by design. That was by the engineering design and based on community input at the time. There have not been negative comments from businesses to this point. The intent was to achieve a downtown environment with slower speeds along Spokane Street, and we feel that that has been accomplished. That's the end of my comments.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Director Leon?
I have a question on that Spokane Street, that box of dirt that was on the end of the street. You said they had to lower the size of that because of visibility?
Yes.
Was this original plan approved by the city and then they come back and said we got to lower it?
That's correct.
Who got billed for the change of lowering that?
They made a determination and had an agreement with the Welch Comer, the engineering firm, that the design should have provided a lower elevation on that. So Welch Comer had their crew, had the Cameron Riley crew, go out and saw cut and remove about 8 inches of that and lower the box about 8 inches. Welch Comer paid for that as part of the design correction. So we did not pay for that.
That's righteous.
So we still will pay for the plantings that go in there because that was part of the original design. It just hasn't been done yet.
It just sounds to me like there's a little confusion between the approval by the city and, I don't know, confusion.
Maybe we should institute an annual box of dirt award.
Yeah.
Any
Thank
other
you.
questions or comments for Director Lean? Hearing none, we'll move on to Commissioner comments.
Madam Chair, I had 2 comments. I would ask that at our next regular meeting, the staff provide us with an update on the status of any appeal or the status of the residential application that was made in the Expo District. And my second question is in your absence, Director Lean, I had asked in future that the incremental received and the district obligation portion of the financial statement be updated at least quarterly, because I think the current practice is not to update that. We now have, in today's, we have one as of September 30th, 2014. So I would ask that that be updated at least through 3/31 and then updated again at the end of the 3rd quarter.
Okay, we can do that.
Thank you, Commissioner Crosby. Any other commissioner comments? Hearing none, I guess it's time for chairman comments. And as acting chairman, I would just like to thank the city again for hosting our monthly meetings here and for the audio video crew back there for doing such a great job keeping us in line and on time. Thank you, Pete, for all your input on what's going on with the right-of-way acquisitions and trying to keep us all fair, square, and legal. Thank you, commissioners, for the last 4.5 years serving together. July will be my last meeting. So we will shortly, as soon as I get my letter together, be posting to take applications for an appointment to fill my position for, I believe, the last, I think it's got 1.5 years left on it. So I would encourage any active citizens who want to get involved in the community to step forward and do that. And with that, I would call for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
2nd. Second. Second.
Moved and second. Roll call, please. Commissioner Crosby?
Aye.
Commissioner
Voice vote.
Voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned.